So, my name is Mr. Anger. I'm Michael, whatever, it doesn't matter. To me, right? So yes, it is like the emotion. I am with the Navy, right? So I've been in the Navy for almost 8.5 years, or no, sorry, 7.5 years, almost 8 years. I actually went to the Falls initially when I graduated high school. When I went to high school, I went to Meade Senior High School. Did any of you guys go there? To Meade? You guys know of it?
I know of it.
Okay, what high schools did you guys go to?
I would live in California.
Okay,
Davenport?
yep.
I'm Shadow Park Highlander.
Shadow Park. Yeah. No, so anyone who steps foot in Meade High School, the first thing they hear is go to college, go to college, go to college. So being not really friends with everyone and not really knowing a lot, I thought, I have to go to college immediately after high school, or else I'm not gonna be successful, I'm not gonna do anything with my life, and found out that wasn't true. I actually started going here right after high school when I wanted to go to Portland or Warner Pacific College in Portland, Oregon for youth ministry. They wanted $20,000 a year. I was like, you want me to pay you? And to me, this was before I learned about loans. It was like, so you want me to pay what I thought at the time would only be $80,000 for a 4-year degree that pays usually a median salary after 10 years of graduating $30,000 to $40,000. I'm good. I'll wait. So I started coming here doing what a lot of you guys do, bust out the prereqs, and then transfer potentially to a 4-year degree. Right? While I was here, I was taking bowling and basketball for my second quarter, and ran into an old friend of mine who's a Marine. And this was like the last guy. Have you guys ever met someone who was like super nice, super quiet, never really did anything, or is not did anything, but just super quiet? You would like never expect them to join the military. Right? You probably met someone like that. This was my guy. This was my best friend for a while, and then we had to go separate ways, kind of, and I ran into him. I was like, why are you in, and he was in the Marines of all branches. Like, I thought he'd be Coast Guard or Air Force. Just I'm in the Marines. I'm like, okay. And he's like, college or the military would pay for your college. I was like, I've heard that, just not sure what I would even do and stuff. So we talked, and he pointed me towards initially the Army, who yelled at me. Tried to talk to the Air Force, they weren't there, and then talked to the Navy. I ended up signing up for a nuclear power program, which is what my next presentation will be right after this, right? And I'm gonna kind of touch base towards the end of this one about everything else I've done since I've joined, right? So, you guys are college students, so I don't have to say this.
Well.
Right? That is me, that was me on deployment. I was on an aircraft carrier that's in the Suez Canal. I have another picture later where you'll actually be able to see, but that is Europe, and on the other side of it is Africa. Right? So have any of you guys ever heard of the Suez Canal? It's you, right? It's a small channel, but big ships go through it all the time. Come to find out, we have to pay a bunch of people $1 million just to go through there because they have to guard it on both sides. Alright, so kind of just reiterating what I said. Right, it's basic Navy presentation. Right, so all this presentation, this first one is just basic. Right, not really going into depth with major Navy stuff, but it's just a basic overview. So it's gonna be kind of vague, that's the point. So you gotta get you guys to ask questions and stuff. So the first M for mattress is money. Right? You guys know what taxes are.
Right.
You guys know all about that. So thank you guys for paying my salary. Right? But one thing I didn't know when I joined was the military, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, you actually get paid pretty well. Right? If your bosses were to give you a bonus, right, you'd probably have to put that on your taxes. Okay? For me, the only thing I get, so my base pay right now, it's actually higher than this now. I think it's at 3,100, and December it'll go up to 34, and then come January with the new budget, it'll go up to 3,500. my base pay is the only thing that gets taxed. Everything else, right? My take-home pay per month, so this is my base pay, what it was, and my take-home pay is $4,600 a month. Because I get all these other things. Basic allowance for substance, that's food. Basic allowance for housing, that's for my housing. And then I get special duty pay because I'm a recruiter.
Do you get housing even if you like live on the base?
So if you, no, you don't.
Oh.
So if you live on the ship or live on base, it depends if you're married. I'm married, so I would still get basic allowance for housing. We call those geo bachelors, so if I was like, let's say I went to Bremerton and was on an aircraft carrier and my wife stayed here, I would get basic allowance for housing for over there. I would just send it home. Right? Basic allowance for substance only for me though. Okay, so if I end up going to a place that has a galley or a cafeteria pretty much, I wouldn't get that. But this is for me being here. When I'm at the sea, this list is longer. I get supervisory pay, sea pay, special duty pay again, hazard duty pay, and then if you're married or you have kids or dependents and you go out for more than 30 days, which is usually a deployment, you get an extra $275 for family separation pay. Right? So all kinds of different pays that a lot of people don't know about. They just think, oh, they only see like because with most jobs, yes.
Just so you think, so if you're on deployment, then are you taxed on that? So you say base pay, are you not taxed on that on deployment?
So that Suez Canal, that picture I showed you, once we pass through there, we are considered in a hostile environment or a tax-free zone, and I'm no longer taxed. When I came back from deployment, my take-home pay was around 55,000 after deployment and all that for that entire year. My tax bracket was only in the 20,000s. So that was another major break.
Wow.
And the cool thing is if let's say you only go for like, let's say you show up there at the very end of the month, so like October 31st, that entire month is considered tax-free. Super awesome. Right? So you actually can't pay lots of money. Bad thing is you have 18-year-old kids who are getting money like this, and so they do what most people do. They spend it on a lot of stupid stuff. I was one of those kids, right? But they treat me well, you get paid leave, all that good stuff. The A is for advancement, right? For you guys, and you guys can answer this as well, right? How would you get a promotion?
Time in the position,
Okay,
Hard work.
increased duties,
okay,
apply
Does
for a
it-
higher rank, basically.
alright. So does it help if you know your boss really well, like you schmoo them a little bit, kind of get them on your side, you talk to the person who gives out the promotion?
I was gonna say we work in states.
No.
So we work for education.
There's no perks in that.
Okay. Well, so
Well,
and
like
this
I
is from
wish.
what I've seen, right, with friends who have worked out there. Most of the time, that's kind of what they have to do. They have to like schmoo the right people and all that stuff, take them out, have, and pretty much be like their best friend until they get that promotion. Okay. For us, it works a little bit differently. These guys are taking what are called advanced placement exams and our advancement tests, where it's literally just a test that tests you on your knowledge of your grade. Okay. We just changed it recently where we got rid of general knowledge of the Navy. So like, initially you get 25 questions at the end. I was like, how many gun salutes or how many shots are fired for this person passes by? Who renders armors first? That stuff. We got rid of that finally because 90% of us like, none of us use that. It's worthless. So they switched to the actual NRA stuff. The other part is evals. You actually can track, you actually get forms and evaluations that track what you do. And the better you do at your job, right? Like you were saying, the more work you put into it, the more duties you get, the better your eval is. Right? And then you practice and you study for your test. And as long as you do that, you're gonna make rank, you get pay raises with that. So the cool thing is it's only based on you. You don't have to like know the right people or anything like that. It's all solely based on you. Which also means that if you don't make it, it's on you. Alright, that's advancement. And this one I love talking to people about. This is what everyone thinks training in the military is like. 24/7, which is why 90% of them don't want to join. They also think that, yeah, just for movies and all that stuff, but it's actually not like this. This is like boot camp, right? Boot camp is like basic training, and I've never seen someone yell like that. That's Marines. And I'm pretty sure he's just yelling so everyone can hear him because he's marching with like 75 people, and we don't like repeating ourselves, right? Basic training is just a small section of it. That was 7 years ago for me, right? And I went to Chicago in December. But this is what training actually looks like. This is actually photos from basic training. So they're sitting down, they're in a classroom setting, they're being taught stuff firsthand, and then they're actually putting it to apply. They're applying it. If you go online, you go to the Navy website or the Navy Facebook, you'll actually see some of the different things we have. One thing that we have is called a Marlin Spike. It's actually a ship that I think Universal made. It's one of the ships that Universal made, and they put it inside a building, and we actually get to practice getting on the ship, getting off, doing lines and all that stuff, basic seamanship stuff. And then at the very end, right, there's a thing called battle stations. Universal Studios actually went out of their way because they found out how we were doing battle stations, and they said, no, we want to give the Navy something awesome. So they built an actual like photo or movie set ship with like that's on water and has like different scenarios and stuff. Probably one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. Right? So that's what the training is. Next one, this is my favorite, this is the thing I love about the Navy. Travel. Who here has been to at least 3 different countries? Okay. So my first country I went to was Rome. That's where that is. Everyone has always seen this building, right? This is actually their version of their military cemetery. They have a torch down here that's lit, and 2 guys who guard it, right? And they man it, and just a really cool experience. So that was Rome. Picture on the far right is Bahrain, and then this is a not so great picture of Dubai. I was having way too much fun, and it's like, I need to get a photo in it. And ended up taking the only one that had construction in it. Right, so travel, it's a really nice perk. And the cool thing is I got paid to go to these places. I didn't have to pay the $2,000 to fly over there. I got to stay in really nice places. Okay. One of my buddies stayed at a hotel, and for some reason, if you stayed there, you got a free Bose speaker. I was determined he stole it, and then like 20 other people from that same hotel showed up with brand new Bose speakers and like, where's my free stuff? Right? So you get all kinds of cool things. When you get to do all kinds of cool things when you're traveling, right? And these weren't like, hey, you're getting stationed over here. This was actually on my deployment. These are places we went. The first place I went to was Italy, so I could go see Rome. Then we went to Bahrain and Dubai. We did go to France. I didn't go to Paris though because I flew home and stopped in Ireland instead, which I also didn't take photos of because I was just so excited about going home. So I got to see quite a few different places. Next one, so this is that Suez Canal I was telling you guys about. So this picture doesn't do it justice because it was with a GoPro, but this is actually, it's a lot wider than it looks, and actually goes further to the side. I could throw a rock at Africa, and then go on the other side and throw a rock at Europe. Okay. But like, those boats, and like throughout you'll see like people, there would be people on the side and stuff, but that's the Suez Canal. Now if you ever look at the Friendship Bridge, that's what it goes over, is that Suez Canal, and it's really small, and I would hate to be the person driving. So I just chilled on the flight deck and got to see all the cool places on both sides. Okay. So the next one is recreation. Everyone thinks, a lot of people think that in the Navy, all you do is work, okay, and then you go spend your money or whatever. There's actually companies, MWR and USO. USO is probably the more popular one because that's a lot more like full-on civilian, right? It's completely civilian ran. Military people don't run it at all. Most of the time they're veterans, right? So if you ever go to an airport, there's a USO there. I love it because few weekends ago, I had to fly to Michigan unexpectedly. Didn't have money to like buy, or because I was in uniform and on orders, I wasn't able to get into like the super nice suites. The USO is always open for military and their families. Right. But I've seen guys go to cruises for like a tenth of the price, concerts, events during deployment, right? So every one of those places I pointed out for traveling, we would have events that they would give us a list of at a super reduced cost for those. There's a thing it's called the Sunset Safari over in Dubai. People pay about $400 to $500 a person. We paid $40 per person. It's MWR gets donations from all kinds of people, right? And then they fund it for us, but then also they're able to usually like talk to people and get really big discounts. So, right, concerts. Who's seen Pitch Perfect 3? Okay, that's not horrible.
Have you?
I have. I like the first one. The second one, yeah. And the third one, no. No, you're bad. But one of the things that they do is there's a USO concerts that are going to each of the bases. Well, they actually do that, but what they do with all kinds of other things as well. Right? So we get to do a lot of fun stuff. And then education, this is what everyone wants to know about. This is why everyone comes into my office. Right? Everyone kind of knows about this, the GI Bill. You guys all heard of it? Right? So the GI Bill, if you ask anyone who's known someone who's in the military or known a family member who's in the military, they talk about the GI Bill. The GI Bill was created sometime in the late 70s to help veterans go to college. And during that time, the amount that's funded for that has gone up and up and up and up. So right now, it covers up to $180,000 of schooling. The cool part is, so you guys, if you here gets paid to go to school, GI Bill, you get paid. So if you go to full-time school, you get $1,000 for books, which until I came here, I did not know a book cost $300 unless it was like signed by a novelty author, and that author was dead. I was like not prepared for that. But then also you get that basic allowance for housing I showed you guys on my paycheck, you get that as well. And they pay you that every month. And if you go to a public school, or even if you go to the Falls here, your schooling is completely paid for. If you go to Eastern, WSU, it is completely paid for. Now some people ask me, well, what if I go back home and I end up living with my parents, am I still gonna get paid? Yes, but now all that money just goes in your pocket. So you can do whatever you want with it. It's just a paycheck that they give you. Right? These other two, that didn't say. So this is not supposed to say JST, is Joint Service Transcript. It's pretty much everything you do in the military gets put onto a transcript and you can give it to colleges. I'm going to Thomas Edison State University right now. I'm finishing my AA in Electrical Mechanical Systems and Maintenance. I've only taken one class and only need 2 more classes to get it. I've only done 2 quarters of college though. That's because everything I've done in the Navy has been put on a transcript and colleges accept that. The other part is tuition assistance. That's how I paid for it. So I'm going to classes right now, or I went to a class and I'm going to start going back to classes probably in December, and the Navy's going to pay for all of them. Right? They pay for my books, and I still get to be active duty. It's not full time, right? But knocking a handfuls out at a time does help. But there's also a State 21, STA 21. Seaman to Admiral. Everyone thinks that the only way to become an officer is if you go to college first and then join the military. 75% of our officers are prior enlisted, which means they went enlisted first and then became officers. Well, programs like the State 21 is how they did it in the academy. So what you do is you go into the enlisted side. If you can complete your degree within 36 months, you are eligible, right? You're in good health and all that stuff. You are eligible to apply for State 21. You can get picked up. They pull you out of the enlisted side. You throw in civilian clothes, just like this, what you guys are wearing, and your sole job is to go to college. And you get my paycheck. So you're getting like $2,000 to $3,000 a month. to go to school. That's it. You don't have to do PT, you don't have to go on deployments, duty days, none of that. Their sole job is to go to school. And these aren't like, no offense, community colleges. These are big time universities. University of Washington is one of the popular ones. I just looked at the list the other day, I can't remember, but it is online. If you look up State 21, all the schools that are on there, right, are ones that you're applicable for, and then depending on which field you're going into, so there's nursing ones, there's ones for nuclear power, right? They have a whole list of different schools you can go to, and they'll pay for you to travel there and live there. Okay. So that's education. Right? So there's so many ways to get your education paid for, right? Another thing with the GI Bill, because you guys are older, this may be a thing. If you have a spouse or kids, if you're in for 8 years, you can transfer your entire GI Bill, or even parts of it, to your spouse, right? So for me, I may only do like a year of college after this for my degree. Well, I still have 3 years of college I can use. Well, either I can just use another year of it, or I can give it to the other 2 years to my wife and have her schooling paid for. So that's education.
Is there an
Oh,
age limit on
on these?
these? The GI Bills?
No, so it used to be 10 years after you got out, you had to use it. The new administration just changed it to where it's now called the Forever GI Bill. So if you're 75 years old, you can still use the GI Bill. So it used to be you had to use it 10 years after you got out, within 10 years.
Does that like work